So I'm not sure what happened to our intro music there, but I think that we're about ready to go live. So let's go ahead with it. So you're very welcome to this week's live event from the Labs team here at NCBI. We're a man down today. JP Corcoran's taking his turn to have a well-deserved rest this week, but we can still avail of the positively gargantuan expertise of the rest of our regular panel, with Sean Doran and Daniel Dunn with us for the show today as well. And what are we going to be talking about? Well, later on in the show, we're excited to bring you an update on the SmartHub, the NCBI SmartHub that's being developed at the moment. We've spoken about that a couple of times on the show before, of course, and it's been great to see just the development of that. And our CTO, Kyran O'Mahony, is going to be letting us know where that project is at and when you can expect to have the first iteration of it, and also how you can get involved if you want to help make it the most useful that it can be as well. I believe that our slides are gone, aren't available at the moment, so just one moment and we'll hopefully get back to you. So let's give this just a moment and we'll see if we can resolve our technical issues at the moment. Okay, so I think that hopefully you're seeing the slides. I can't see anything on my screen at the moment, but we'll continue on anyway, and hopefully there won't be any or too many issues throughout the show today. JP Corcoran, this is what happens when you go away, JP. We'll get our own back on you next time. But very good. So what else are we going to be talking about on our show today? Well, apart from the NCBI SmartHub update, we're going to be talking about Apple AirTags and just how useful they are, but also how inclusive and accessible they are. And for that part of the show, we're going to have David Nason with us again, who no doubt you'll recognize from some of our previous live events. In our Meet the Team segment today, we're going to have the opportunity to talk to a member of NCBI's Advocacy team, Aoife Watson, and she'll be telling us a bit about the kind of work that she's involved with in NCBI as well. Of course, throughout the show, don't forget that we want to hear from you as well. So if there are any questions that you'd like answered, or technology that you'd like us to cover, or any questions really for throughout the show today, you can contact us using the Q&A panel on the right-hand side of Teams, or you can email us at labs@ncbi.ie. But first up this week, we're going to talk about our tech news. We're going to start off with the tech news and a few interesting pieces to talk about. Sean, first of all, tell us a bit about the changes to Google Drive.
So Jude, people who would use Google Sync and Backup, maybe as opposed to Google Drive, and maybe like people would use like they back up Google Photos, etc. And then there's people who would use the sort of corporate end of Google sort of backup services. That's all getting incorporated into one application now. So it'll be like Google Drive Stream.
Okay.
I'm going to call it. So it's going to be like Google Stream. And that's going to be like, you know, whether you're a corporate user, an enterprise user, or just a home user, it's all under one banner.
Very good. Okay, so that's the first of our news items. So that'll be interesting just to see how that develops and how usable that is as well. That'll be interesting. Daniel, I believe there are rumours of a new iPad Mini on the horizon.
There is indeed, Jude. Yeah. Now look, these are rumours, so don't hold us to these, as to say. Yeah, there's a new iPad Mini that's being flagged that's going to be released. You know, I suppose it's 9 years since the iPad Mini came out, you know, and while they have made improvements to the device, it is similarly look all the way along. So this time now, apparently Apple are looking at going from the traditional 7.9-inch screen. We're talking about going to somewhere between 8.5 and 9 inches, so a little bit bigger, a little bit more viewing area. We're also looking at Touch ID sensor built into a side-mounted power button. So it sounds like another traditional home button is going to go to the consignment of history. They're talking about good, good updates in the power of it. It'll support, it'll support the stylus as well. Your stylus pencils. So, look, there's plenty going to be in it. And as usual, Apple will keep their cards close to their chest. But that's what we've kind of got out of them at the moment. That this is coming a bigger iPad Mini, more powerful. So we look forward to seeing it.
A little bit less mini. It'll be interesting. Yeah.
A little bit less mini. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's come back to Sean for a second. What's this I hear about the Clippy comeback?
Oh, Microsoft Clippy. Well, it wasn't what we were expecting. We were all dreading that Clippy was going to return and be bouncing over our Word documents, asking us if we wanted to save the document, or do you need a hand adding in headings, or whatever Clippy used to tell. So Clippy used to be like the assistant, and he was a paper clip who would appear down on the bottom right-hand corner of Word documents, and he would appear in different parts of it, asking, "Oh, do you need help saving this document, printing this document?" And he used to, he wasn't well liked, but I was actually, when I seen the headline, I was dreading that. Oh no, Clippy's going to have some new AI intelligence, and he's going to be even worse than he ever was. But he's just been brought back nostalgically in Teams backgrounds.
Oh my goodness! Imagine doing the voiceover for Clippy, being the voice of Clippy. That would be something else, wouldn't it?
I don't even know whose voice I could picture in that.
We better not say anything here; we'll get done. Don't suggest anyone.
So as a nostalgia piece, like they're using Clippy as a Teams meeting backdrop, like you can blur your background or choose a picture. Yeah. Clippy will be one of them, and they'll have like an animated Microsoft Paint background, and there'll be some old Windows desktops and that there. So when we sing Clippy, our hearts all stop. He's not coming back, is he? But thankfully, only in an image.
Yeah, very good. So that definitely a bit of a nostalgic thing. And Daniel, there's another bit of trivia as well. I believe the blue screen of death is on the way out itself, is it?
Yeah, the blue screen of death, famously to the bane of many users, and particularly back in the Windows 95, Windows 98, Windows Millennium days, it was a regular feature. But since, I suppose, XP all the way up to Vista and 7 has become less and less familiar, thankfully, but still hasn't gone away. Microsoft in the Windows 8, when they released that, they jazzed up the blue screen of death, gave it a sad face. Very what was it? The colon, the subtract, and the parentheses, just to give it a little sad face. So in 2016, they added in the QR codes, which were supposed to be a handy feature, that if you could have your camera phone just happen to be ready when the computer froze or crashed, that you could scan the QR code and find out more about the error. And now really for Windows 11, they just seem to have changed the blue screen to the black screen. So I suppose from our point of view, it's a little bit more accessible for low vision users, if you want to take that. But that is all the improvement they're doing to it. It's just changing the blue to black, and I suppose it's to keep in theme with what they're planning for Windows 11 is their, the loading screen and all that is going to be fully black as well. So I think it's kind of part and parcel of all this move to a dark mode or dark screen to tie in with the energy saving on laptops and things like that. So I guess that's where they're coming from with it. For a couple of seconds that a blue screen of it is going to be up there. Well, it's going to be a black screen of it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, we'll have to get used to calling it the black screen of death.
Yeah, it'll be kind of like Microsoft DOS or something, I think.
That's it. So it's interesting when your tech news is about pepping up the blue screen of death. It's quite interesting. But again, just a bit of kind of trivia along with some of the bigger news.
Yeah, kind of ties in nicely with Clippy, doesn't it?
Yeah, doesn't it just?
They're going back to the roots.
That's it. Yeah, absolutely.
Crash screens and paper clips.
Oh, I can't wait. Yeah, I don't know if there's any good news in there, really, is there? But yeah, as you say, a bit more accessible at least. Excellent. So that's a bit of the tech news going around at the moment anyway. But now we're going to move on to our Meet the Team segment. And we're delighted this week to have Aoife Watson on our live event. So good to have you with us, Aoife. It's
Great
your
to be
turn
here,
under
Jude.
the spotlight.
Great to be here. Thanks.
Yeah. So tell us, Aoife, tell us a little bit about maybe just even where are you based? How long have you been with NCBI?
Yeah, so I'm working in head office in Drumcondra at the moment. I've been there for 2 years. Just 2 years in July. So it started this month. I was there for 2 years. So I've been an NCBI service user since I was 10, and I went to Maynooth University in 2017 to do English and sociology. And then I applied for the NCBI Gerard Byrne bursary in my final year. Actually, I applied my second year and I didn't get it. So I applied again in my final year and I got the Gerard Byrne bursary. And that bursary was basically just a little bit of financial help for students who are blind or vision impaired in third level education, and which was very, very welcome as a student. And and then along with that, I got a 6-month internship with NCBI, which was really great because I had absolutely no idea what I was going to do once I left college. And I wasn't quite sure what I could do in my English and sociology arts degree. So they found a place for me.
I remember studying English, and what else did I study? English and history when I did my arts degree. Now there's a combination for you to qualify you for anything.
It's when you're in school and you're like, oh, I like history and I like English and I could just do arts.
Yes, yeah.
Seems like a great idea at the time.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, great. It seemed like a great idea at the time. How many times have we heard that? Tell us a little bit, Aoife, about just what your role with NCBI is now. Then.
Yeah, so I once I started in NCBI, I was in the advocacy team, and I had a 6-month internship, and here I am 2 years later, which is great. So I in the advocacy team is quite small. There's myself and Liz, who's the advocacy officer, and what our main thing we do is we've set up local advocacy networks all around the country. So these are groups of people who are blind or vision impaired, NCBI service users mainly, who meet up around the country with people in their local areas, and they work on they identify and try to fix and work on issues that are affecting them on a day-to-day basis. So sometimes some of the groups have decided to work on inaccessible traffic lights or local businesses not having accessible menus or things like that. So one of my big roles is to support people and to help them get the best outcomes that they can, and that might be drafting an email for them or helping them write an email themselves, or phoning the council or finding the best person to ring up about a certain issue.
So is there a degree of kind of every day is quite different from the previous day in that role?
It is, yeah. And sometimes I'd come into work with a plan of what I'm going to do for the day, and I'd get nothing done because I'd be on the phone to service users all day or people from the council or chasing up the traffic light or something like that. So it's very unpredictable.
I'd imagine there's kind of quite a lot of potential for that to be very rewarding work as well, is there?
Yes, it absolutely is. And as someone with a vision impairment myself, I get so much pleasure in fixing a traffic light somewhere for someone, because I know how much that impacts on your life, and referring someone on to get technology help or mobility training, and then just knowing how much that one email I sent has helped someone in their everyday life. It's brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I guess that kind of most of your time with NCBI then kind of coincided with the pandemic.
Yeah. So the first maybe 6 months it was fine. So that's when we set up the local advocacy groups, and we were able to travel around the country to we travelled to Donegal and Cork and Limerick and Wexford, and we got to meet all the service users face to face for their first advocacy meetings. And you know, we were able to, you know, have lunch and have a chat and meet everyone, and it was great. And then from then on out, everything we had to go online.
Yes. Yeah.
Which was it was a big struggle. It was a big shock to everyone. We lost quite a few people. Our numbers dropped quite significantly when we moved online because people just didn't know what to do.
It's tougher, isn't it? I suppose. Yeah. And have you found that kind of over the intervening time now that's rectified, or is that something that people have adjusted to? And
yeah, I think people have adjusted to it quite well, and I really think that, you know, once we're able to meet face to face again, I think it would be important to keep an element of the virtual aspect, because a lot of people find it much easier because they don't have to travel, or they don't have the means to travel, or, you know, they can't access the training they need. So doing it from their homes is so much easier. Absolutely,
it makes it more widely available, definitely, if there's transport issues and things like that, definitely.
Yeah.
Would you say, are there kind of particular things that are going on at the moment, particular projects that you're able to tell us about, or is it kind of an ongoing situation where we said earlier that every day is different from the previous anyway?
Yeah, so one big thing we'd have at the moment is the Change Your View campaign. So it's a campaign that we launched a few weeks ago, I think, it was just before the outdoor dining all started. And it's basically there's lots of information on NCBI's website to keep the public aware of, you know, the difficulties that people who are blind and vision impaired will face once the city and everything, the country starts to open up again, and information for restaurants on how to follow best practice when they are laying out their outdoor dining, and also information for the government on how they can help.
Okay, so plenty of good information there, and that's all on ncbi.ie.
Yes, it is.
Excellent. Yeah, very good. Well, really interesting just to hear the work that's going on in advocacy there with NCBI. It's always great every week to hear the kind of different elements of the work that NCBI does. So we really appreciate you coming onto the show today, Aoife.
Great to be here. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So that was Aoife Watson joining us this week on our live event for our Meet the Team segment. And thanks to Aoife for joining us. Really interesting to hear about some of that work that's been going on as well. So let's move on with today's show. We're going to move on to the subject of Apple's AirTags. Now, the AirTags are another useful addition to the Apple product line, but just how good are they and how accessible are they? Well, David Nason is back with us for today's show to talk about that. Good to have you with us again, David.
Hi, Jude. Thanks for having me.
You're becoming a recognised voice on our live events at this stage.
I don't know why you keep having me back, but sure, I'll keep going as long as you have me.
That's great. Something must be working right, David. This is great. So tell us, David, just with AirTags, can you give us just a bit of a kind of an overall description of what the AirTags actually are? If people have heard of them and they're kind of thinking, what are Apple AirTags?
Cool. You broke up a lot there, but I think you're asking for an overall description.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's it.
So yeah, they're basically just small little tags that you can attach to any kind of item, and it's to help you either find those items or not lose those items in the first place, really. People might have heard of Tile, so it's a similar product to that if people are familiar.
Okay, yeah, very good. So maybe just give us a bit of a kind of run through some of the headline features, if you like. So one of them is to do with kind of connecting something with or using your app to find something specific, as you mentioned there. How does that actually work? Yeah. What's the way that you actually get the most out of it?
You attach the little tag to the item. So just say I have one on my keyring, for example. And then I can go into the app, the Find My app on the iPhone, and go into this. One of the tabs is called Items, and in there I'll find what I've called David's Keys, which is this particular tag. and it'll tell me where it currently is, and if I left it behind somewhere, it'll tell me where it was last pinged. And the way it does this is because there's millions of iPhones out in the world, what it itself isn't a GPS tracker at all. All it has is Bluetooth in it, and it just pings all the devices around us and uses that to detect to tell you where it is based on where those phones were. Now, it's all done privately, so people's phones, you don't know whose phones it's pinging or anything like that. But it's using that network of phones to actually figure out its location.
Yeah, very good. And the way that comes up then, if that's using kind of a map or something to show you where the location is, or how does it do that? Is that accessible?
Yeah, it is pretty accessible now. It does have a map, so when you open that app, the kind of top half of the screen is a map, and it's kind of the same as, I suppose, it's essentially a screen from Apple Maps. So if you can see Apple Maps, you can see this map, but at the same time, as a voiceover user only kind of thing, it's not the map itself you'll struggle with. It'll kind of read, if you flick through the screen, it'll read names of some of the places, maybe that kind of thing. So you might get something from it from voiceover, but it does tell you the address, voiceover. It is fully accessible as much as it can be, if you know what I mean. Even without being able to see the map, it'll tell you it'll tell you the name of the location, that kind of thing. So.
Interesting, yeah. And I was actually kind of intrigued to see, I know you've done a demonstration of how the precision tracking works, and that's definitely something that you could say is quite accessible, isn't it? Yeah,
they've done a great job of that. And what that is just say you've left your wallet in whatever location it is. When you get quite near it, you can then go to this feature in the app. You say find nearby, and you double tap that, and then that will actually guide you directly to the device. It will actually go like it is 10 meters to your left, and as you walk, it will keep updating. And if you have usable vision, you'll actually see there's an arrow on the screen pointing, but its voiceover speaks out those directions as well. That go left, go straight this distance, and as you get close to it, then it'll start to vibrate your phone.
Brilliant.
And you pick it up. Now you do have to have one of the newer-ish iPhones. I think it's kind of iPhones from like the iPhone XS upwards, or the newer iPhone SE, or the 11 or 12, those kind of newer ones, because they have the chip in them that can do that precision part. So you can also, even if you don't, whether or not you have the precision finding, it has a feature where you can tell it to play a sound as well. So when you know you're nearby, on the app, you say play sound, and it'll make a little sound out of the keyboard or out of the
brilliant.
tag, I should say.
So there's kind of a couple of ways that it's helping you. And I mentioned there that you've done a video of that. We might actually just play that video, if that's okay, just to get a good idea of how the precision tracking works. So I think we have that video ready.
Hi there, Dave here again with another look at AirTags. This time I'm just going to show quickly how the precision finding feature works. So this is where you have an AirTag and you can track it down. If you have an iPhone 11 or newer, you get this precision finding option. So what we're going to do is go into the Find My app.
Find my active, find my map, Williamstown.
And towards the bottom of the screen we have tabs, so I'm going to find the items tab and select it.
Tab bar selected, page devices tab, items tab, 3 of selected, items tab, 3 of 4.
And then we have a list of our AirTags, so underneath the items heading.
Items heading. David's wallet, Mullins Wing Apartments, 1 Linden Square, now with you. Actions available.
So that's the wallet that I have an AirTag in, and I've named as David's wallet. So I'm going to double tap this.
Map, Williamstown.
And again,
notifications.
The map takes up the top kind of 2/3 or so of the screen. So I'm going to tap it about 2/3 of the way down.
Play sound off button.
So we have a play sound. I'll come back to that.
Now button. With you button. David's wallet. With you button.
And I'm just going to swipe right through the different options here.
Now. Play sound, find nearby button.
Until we get to find nearby, and I'm now going to select this.
Find. Signal is weak. Try moving to a different location. Finding David's wallet heading.
Okay, we do sometimes get that signal is weak, and sometimes you'll get a message
8.2 meters.
That it is calibrating, but now you'll have heard it said 8.2
7 meters.
meters, 7 meters. I'm going to turn around.
7.6 meters. 6.1 meters. 6 meters. 6 meters. Calibrating. Ellipsis. 6.1 meters. 6.2 meters. 5.4 meters. 5.2 meters. Try moving in a different direction to locate your item. 4.7 meters.
And it is
4.5 meters. Signal is weak. Try moving to a different location. 4.6 meters. 4.9 meters. You're right. 5 compass item 4.7 meters. 4.4 meters. You're right. 4.2 meters to your left. 3.3 meter ahead.
So it's saying it's ahead of me.
1.2 meter ahead. 1.2 meter ahead.
So I'm getting very close
1.1 meter ahead. 0.9 meter nearby.
And as I do this,
0.7 meter nearby. 0.8 meter nearby. 0.7 meter nearby.
I also get vibrations on the phone, and the closer you get to it, the faster
0.8 meter nearby. 0.7 meter. 0.8 meter nearby.
those vibrations go. Those
0.7 meter nearby. 0.4 meter. 0.3 meter nearby.
So it's around here somewhere, but just say I still
0.2 meter nearby. 0.3, 0.5, 0.6 meter nearby. 0.7 meter.
Play a sound. So
0.7, 0.8 meter. Done. Button. Play sound. Button.
I just
Actions
swipe
available.
right a couple of times there and find the play sound button.
Play sound. 0.4 meter nearby. 0.3 meter nearby.
I hear
0.2 meter nearby. Here.
And there's
Here.
the wallet.
Play sound. But done. Button.
And I can press
Actions
done.
of card. Map.
And I found my wallet. And that's how the precision finding option works. So when you are nearby to this item, you can get these directions given to you through the app. So they are visual on screen, but as you'll have heard, VoiceOver also speaks them out and says which direction to go. Is it ahead of you? Is it to the left? Is it to the right? And updates you on the distance. So that's precision finding on AirTags. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.
Very good. Well, that sounds very useful. David, is it actually as useful as it sounds? That sounds like a great function that's on there. Is it one of those things that's kind of sounds great, but you'll never use it, or do you use that quite a bit?
It's a bit the former in the sense that I haven't lost my keys or my wallet really, so therefore haven't had to use it.
Yeah.
But it is useful. But then again, you know, and in iOS 15, they're bringing in new, and I have the beta of that running on my iPhone. And I was down on holidays, and I kind of wasn't bringing my keys out with me, you know. So we'd go out in the car, and I didn't have, because I had a hotel kind of car, I didn't have my actual keys. And every time I left the complex, I'd get a notification that would pop up and say you've left your keys behind, or you know, so whatever that might be, you've left your wallet behind, which is that's a new thing that they're adding to it called separation alerts, which I think could be really useful, because you could have them in your jacket, and then when you leave the pub or whatever, it'll say, hey, you know, or whatever.
That's actually dead handy as well. Yeah.
So I think they are really good, but it's just how often you actually need it. It's one of those, they're not something to get excited about necessarily, but they're a really useful thing to have, you know. That's how I kind of look
a
at
safety net almost.
I've only read about pubs in the history books, but I believe people are putting the AirTags on their, like maybe their cats or their dogs when they're out and about, that you can find them.
Excellent.
on dog collars.
And people put them on their white canes as well. And again, so you don't. So you can find it basically when you're. You'll know when you're in someone else's house or something. And you go, oh god.
Yeah, just hearing some of the kind of practical uses for it. How do you actually attach one of these to something?
Yeah, well,
it looks kind of like a coin, doesn't it?
It is. It's probably about, the diameter is a little bit bigger than a €2 coin, I'd say, and it's 2 or 3 times as thick as a €2 coin. So it's small but not tiny. You know what I mean? So I found like putting in the wallet, it didn't fit very nicely into the wallet, but you can put it in there if you want, kind of thing. But it doesn't have any little kind of holes. So unlike some of their competitors like Tile or Samsung's Galaxy ones have a little kind of hole that you can put a keyring through, Apple's don't have anything like that. So if you want to attach it to anything, you have to buy an accessory, of course. So the AirTag itself is €29, but then you're buying an accessory, which is a decent price, and it's very competitive with their competition. But then you have to buy an accessory on top of it. So I bought, now Apple sell a keyring that's about €35, I think, but they also sell a Belkin one for 15, and I bought one on Amazon for about €3. So you know, you don't have to buy the expensive one. And there's ones, you know, for clipping to luggage, or you know, there's various. If you go into Amazon or anything like that now, you'll see a range of different accessories.
The ones I saw, they're kind of like little keyring with almost like a little pocket that this goes in. Is that pretty much what it's like?
Yeah, that's essentially it. Yeah.
Yeah, very good. So that makes it a bit,
you can buy a nice
a bit more.
One, or you can go cheap like I did and just.
I've also seen to come with lanyards, like a corded cable. So if you wanted to tie it around a suitcase because they might not have, you know, something a key ring, key holder can go on. So they do come with like a lanyard for tying around things also. So there's going to be different ways to attach them.
Yes, very good.
I've heard of people putting them in, even in you know, into their bike saddles and things like that as well.
Yeah.
Taping it in, hidden kind of.
JP's actually done that, so he's probably out cycling his bike today.
I was just thinking there, if you put it in your, you know, your luggage when you're going on holidays and your luggage doesn't come out, and next thing you see it just heading back over the south coast of Ireland or something like that, would that work?
If I put it in lost out on the other side, it's gone to the wrong country.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, plenty of different applications for it, I'd say. And you can actually kind of personalize the appearance of these as well, can you? There's you can actually put like images of your own on it, I believe, as well. So it's kind of interesting.
You can ask for an engraving anyway, so you can put an emoji on it or put your initials on it.
Yeah, so properly monogrammed one. That's great. Yeah, excellent. And tell us a bit about the lost mode, David.
I think it's essentially doing the same thing, except when you put into lost mode, it'll actually try and actively ping nearby phones, so that if there's one in lost mode sitting on the side of the street and you walk past it, and you know, it'll ping your phone, and you'll actually be able to go and actually scan that AirTag then, and then if I put a message in to say, hey, this is David, please call this number, you know, you can get that information. And I think even Android phones can do that scan. They wouldn't get pinged by it necessarily, but they would get, they can, if they see one there, they can scan it, and it will tell them who to call or what have you.
Yeah.
So it's very just to help you with finding it.
Yeah, I suppose as well, like if they're did you say €29 for each one? Yeah, I know you can get kind of multi-packs of them as well, but they're expensive enough really for each one. You don't want to be losing any of them, so to have the lost mode in it, and obviously they're going to be with something that's valuable to you as well, so you've got that element of it as well.
So.
Yeah. One concern that maybe people might have about these, and I know it's kind of been mentioned before in discussions about the AirTags, is just because they're so small, and if they're connected to your iPhone or whatever, it'll track that. There's kind of a little bit of a scare or a little bit of a worry about how they could be used to track people. That you could just, you know, slip one in somebody's bag or their pocket or whatever. I think there's a few things that they've done to make that less dangerous though in that way, is there?
Yeah, they say they've safeguarded against that with things like, if I was to leave an AirTag in your bag and then I walk off, you'll get an alert to say, hey, there's an AirTag near you that's not yours. So as soon as I leave my AirTag behind, and if it's tracking, you know, and if it's near another person's iPhone for a significant amount of time, like a few hours, then it will, it'll send them a message on their phone to say, hey, there's an unknown AirTag tracking you. Now, I think the question is how long. I think it's 3 hours or something like that. So the question is that too short? We don't all want to be getting pinged constantly by other people's AirTags, but equally we want to be tracked. So I'd say, I think that's probably an ever-changing thing. I think they're probably trying to find the right balance on that. And then there was worries around Android, because, you know, you could still maybe be tracking people, although that Android phone wouldn't be directly giving you information. If they're near other iPhone users, you would still be able to track that Android user. So I think they have shortened the time before. I think it was originally 3 days, but I think they've shortened it now. So even if you're an Android user and there's one following you for a while that you'll be told. So that is
kind of
there is a bit of a concern
interesting
there, but equally it's
you know. Interesting to think how that would work.
That question to you, David. I was just asking for a friend, like, what would happen with an Android owner? But that answers my question. Thanks.
Yeah, as far as I know now, anyway. Yeah, they have built that. they have thought of that anyway. And I mean, these products. I mean, they exist. You know, Tile have been making them for years, and then people say that there are actual GPS trackers that if somebody is minded to stalk people, there are better solutions, unfortunately, that they can get than the Apple AirTag. But
so the actual practical danger of it isn't as high as it might sound. But
it's
kind of an interesting interesting thing though. Even their solution to that of kind of notifying you if somebody else's AirTag is nearby. It'll be interesting when there's kind of more crowds around and things like that. If somebody has, for example, one of these in their wallet on their person and you've got crowds around, it'd be interesting to see the how many responses you might get back.
Dave,
you're still near it won't tell anyone.
A quick question. Would it be feasible, in your opinion, maybe to use some of the AirTags as kind of wayfinders? So if somebody, let's say out in their garden or whatever, wanted to kind of mark where the gate was, or mark something in particular, would it be a viable solution that way?
I think it would. I've heard of somebody saying they were going to do this. Now you are limited to a max of 16 of them. So if you wanted to use it, for various different routes or something like that, you might run out of AirTags pretty quickly, that kind of way on your account. But I think you could use it in that way. You'd need that precision finding aspect to it, and then you could get there. But because it does get very precise if you have that precision finding feature, it does get very precise. So,
that's the iPhone 11 or higher, isn't it? The precision feature.
Yeah, I couldn't remember myself, and then my video there said I said 11, so I trust my former self that
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, that's just thinking maybe someone on a farm or something that wanted to kind of get to certain buildings around it.
Even actually, and even actually using the sound again. So the sound isn't particularly loud, so you wouldn't be using this. If there's cars driving by just outside, you might struggle to hear it. But when you get quite close to it, you should be able to hear the sound as well. If you're looking for something very specific, like turn off, or even if it's a case where there's looking for your driveway, I think walking down the road, like just having that, especially with the precision bit, where you can just say, and you find it hard to know which is my driveway, then I think something like this could be useful.
And there's a year battery in them too, isn't there? So you get quite a bit out of them.
Yeah, it's what they say, it lasts a year.
And when that battery goes, just while we're on the subject, are they is that something that it has to be a specific Apple AirTag battery?
No, thankfully they went with I can't remember, CS9 or something. It's a standard battery that you can get in any shop that would sell batteries.
Well, that's great.
Or what have you. And it's user replaceable. You don't have to send it off or anything like that. You just kind of put 2 thumbs down on it and you just slightly turn it and the top pops off. It's very easy to do.
Yeah.
And you swap it out.
Speaking of kind of how easy it is to do that, how easy is it to set up? So, for example, for somebody with sight loss, is that quite an easy setup at the start?
Yeah, that's simple. So if anyone has AirPods, the Bluetooth earphones, it'd be familiar. It's very similar to that, where essentially when you unpack the AirTag, you take it out of the box. There's a little kind of tag that's keeping it switched off. That's kind of keeping the battery case open, and when you pull that out, it activates the AirTag, and that's the start of your 12-month battery life. And then you bring it kind of close-ish to your phone, and a little pop-up will come up on the screen saying AirTag connected, AirTag detected. Do you want to set it up? You just say yes. It takes you into the app and just guides you step by step, which is very short. It's just giving it a name and that kind of thing. So yeah, dead simple.
Really easy to use. Yeah, excellent. Yeah. So you've been using these for a little while, David, at this point, have you? What's your overall impression, if we're kind of just to round up the conversation on that, what's your overall impression of them?
Yeah, I think they're really good, really useful things. For me, I'd say it's if you think it will be useful to you, as in you'd like to have something on your keys or your wallet or your cane or your dog or whatever it is that would help you to just to either track that down whether it's on a regular basis or you're just concerned about losing certain valuable things, and just having this tag gives you a bit of peace of mind and just helps you to find those things, then it's really useful. As I say, it's not super exciting like getting a new phone or getting a new watch or something, but it's a useful accessory. It's a very useful accessory, and I think, it's not too expensive either. So not cheap, but not too expensive.
Yeah, you don't want to be sitting around there waiting for your kind of entertainment of, I can't wait to see how this works.
Yeah. It is fun to use the precision finding for the first few times, though, just to kind of test it out, you know what I mean? Just to see how good it is.
Yeah, no, it sounds really useful. Yeah, and again, something like this is supposed to be functional. It's supposed to achieve a particular thing, and if it does that well, then you're kind of happy with it, aren't you?
Yeah, and again, as well, as long as you're happy enough to be in that Apple universe as well, you know what I mean? Obviously, if you decide, I'm going to buy an Android phone next year, all your AirTags are pretty much useless. So that's to always be aware of with these kind of things now. But,
absolutely. Yeah, well, really interesting just to hear a bit more about how they work and how well they work as well, and how accessible they are too. And we really appreciate you coming on the show today, David.
Delighted to be here. Thank you.
Thanks, David.
Very good. So that was David Nason talking to us about Apple AirTags, and again, kind of an interesting piece just to hear about their functions. Obviously, it's maybe unless you found yourself losing things a number of times, you're maybe not going to get overly excited about it. But it is actually great just to hear how well a feature like that can use, because when it happens, it's such a frustrating thing. So to be able to have an easy solution is great. So thanks to David Nason for joining us on the show this week to talk about that. Now, moving on, we promised you earlier an update on the NCBI SmartHub project. Now, this is a project that we're really excited about here on the Labs team, and NCBI's CTO, Kyran O'Mahony, joined me earlier today to give us that update. So let's find out some more from Kyran. So you're very welcome back to our live events, Kyran. Good to have you back. It's been a little while.
Yeah, good to be back, Jude. I think the last time I was on a live event, was it either just before Christmas or just after Christmas, something like that?
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah. And it's actually interesting what's been happening in that time, because I know you've been on a live event talking about the NCBI SmartHub before, which is a really exciting development for NCBI Labs. But you've got a bit of an update for us today, but maybe if you can start by just reminding us what is the SmartHub project all about?
So the My NCBI SmartHub is a really exciting project, as you said. It's the first time that NCBI is building their own piece of technology to directly support people with sight loss. So the question is why and what we're doing. Well, why we're doing it, because I really believe that technology is a huge enabler for people with sight loss, and it's a huge way to overcome barriers. And what the SmartHub is basically a voice-controlled application that will run on Alexa and Google.
Yeah. So
what that will mean is that you'll be able to interact with NCBI and NCBI services using your voice via Amazon or Google. So you can say things like, hey Alexa, tell me about NCBI. Or you can say things like, Alexa, tell me about the types of sight loss, and it'll read back that information to you. And the most beautiful thing about this project really is that it's using a technology that's accessible right out of the box. So, given that there's no screen, for someone who maybe has lower vision or no vision, this is an accessible tool from the get-go. So
brilliant.
It's a really important project, and I think it's progressing really well. And we're looking forward to getting as many people with sight loss in Ireland and internationally involved in the project.
Brilliant, yeah. And I think you were saying before as well that there's kind of elements of being able to book events and all sorts of things like that if there's an event that you want to kind of make sure to attend.
Yeah, so what we want to do is there's two core aspects of the SmartHub. One is that it's an informational tool, so you can use Amazon or Google to retrieve information about NCBI. You can have information about sight loss, which is really important. You know what I mean? Because if you Google, for example, I suffer from nystagmus. If you Google nystagmus, you might get 50 million reviews.
Yeah.
50 million results of.
I can't imagine the review score will be high on that one.
No, not really. No, it's probably a 1 out of 5 for that type of sight loss. But what's great about this is that we're going to consolidate that information about sight loss into a SmartHub, and we're working with David Keegan, Professor David Keegan from the Mater Private, to review all of the sight loss information on treatments as well. So it'll be curated content too. So that's really important. So that's kind of the informational side. There's also the side about how we can interact with NCBI, because a laptop can be very expensive, and living in this kind of virtual COVID world or semi-COVID world as restrictions ease, it's still really important to have access to the services that NCBI provide virtually. And I think this piece of technology, because like an Alexa or a Google is only €40-ish, there is more expensive versions, but the entry one is only about that cost. You can get one quite cheaply. So you can say things then as well as that, Alexa, read or play the latest NCBI podcast, or read me the Insight magazine. Or what's really exciting is that if you're a Bookshare subscriber, so if you use the Bookshare service from NCBI, which has access to thousands and thousands of educational books and leisure books, which by the way is a free service for all library members, you will be able to use Alexa to read your favorite book back to you, and I think that's such an important thing. In additionally, if you'd like to make an appointment to see your CRW, you can say, Alexa, make an appointment with NCBI, and the SmartHub will do that for you. And what we're working on doing is, toward the end of the project, is actually being able to say, Alexa, I need support from NCBI, and it will create a phone call, and it will call directly into NCBI, which will save you the price of a phone call. Maybe in your house you might have a mobile phone or whatever the case may be. So that's a great one. Or a very popular service in our team, Jude, is the technology support line. So you can say, Alexa, I need some technology support, and it'll call through automatically to a member of the NCBI Labs team who are available kind of 9 to 5 for technology support.
It's quite an extensive project, actually, when you just kind of describe the functions and the amount of information that'll be on it, the amount of actions you can do. It's quite an extensive project. And obviously, I think the last time that we were talking, there'd been a lot of work gone into the planning phase. But where are we in development at the moment? Where's the Smart Hub project at the moment?
Well, we have a number of what's called development cycles, or sprints is what they call them in the development world, and we've gone through 2 of those sprints at the moment. They last a total of 3 weeks at a time, and we estimate that the overall project will be completed towards the end of November. So what we're actually working on at the moment is we do have a working version that we've been testing amongst the SmartHub project team. And that one at the moment will give you all the information about NCBI and its services and sight loss.
Yeah.
Now it's not quite ready for public release, but it's getting close. So what we're hoping to do is, over the next week or two, as the system becomes more polished and as we fix a lot of the initial bugs in any piece of software development, you inevitably get bugs. So we're going to try and fix as many of them, and maybe within 2 to 3 weeks we'd like to release it to the public for some feedback. Now, it won't do everything. It'll be the first part of the My NCBI project, or My NCBI SmartHub project, but it'll be a good taster of some of the features to come. And I think what you said is so accurate. When we were designing this, we really wanted to get as many features as possible into the SmartHub, because we've heard so much and loudly and clearly from from our service users and the broader sight loss community that they love voice assistants and they use them day to day. And most of the people with sight loss that I've talked to, and I've sat in on a lot of the technology clubs that we run once a week, just to see if this would be something that people would be interested in.
Yeah.
And the feedback has been so strong. And most people seem to actually have like an Alexa or Google already.
Yeah.
So we really want to make sure that we can cram as much features into this as possible. And we've partnered with a great company called Kyran Consulting. They're an Irish company, and they've done other Alexa skills, from the Ryanair Alexa skill. They've done the GA Alexa skill as well. So these guys know what they're doing, and they've been great to work with so far. So we'll continue working with them right the way through to November, and hopefully we can build as many features as possible.
Brilliant, yeah, and I think that side of it is kind of something that's good to emphasize. It's not to be underestimated. Sometimes there might be a kind of almost like I don't know if you could say a single function development or a piece of software that's being developed, but this is something that's actually, it's not a small project. It's something that's quite in depth. No, and that's like quite a big thing for NCBI.
Yeah, to give you a sense of the team. So we have internally, you've Sean Doran, who's been on the live event a number of times. He's working on the project, and we have Alan Leilish, who is a consultant project manager. He's working for NCBI for the duration of this project, and then Kyran have a team of about 5 people that's working on it. So, and then I would dip in and out. I just like taking all the credit, whereas this team are actually doing all the work. But,
that's the best way.
Yeah, I know. In all seriousness, people are really proud of the work that they're doing, and it's a great team that's kind of come together to get this built for people with sight loss. And what we're actually hoping to do as well is we don't want this technology just to be limited to sight loss. I think that has great application across other charities in Ireland. So we'd be looking to see if we can support other charities deploy the same technology into 2020, late 2021 and into 2022. So for now, we're really focused on getting as many of the features built as possible. There's a lot of testing that we need to do.
Yeah.
But really what we want to do is make it as good as we possibly can for people with sight loss.
And when you say that there's a lot of testing to do, have you got kind of a number of testers in from outside? Are you still looking for testers? What's the situation with that at the moment?
So I want to get as many people testing as possible. Now, I suppose I should probably explain what I mean by testing. So what's really important is that it's more feedback than testing. Like if you've never done any testing before, that's fine. All I really want is for someone to turn it on. All you have to do to turn it on is say, Alexa, launch my NCBI. Once it's on, you play around with it, see do you like the features, and then write us an email and say this is what we liked and this is what we didn't like. Or if there's something that happens that's confusing or something that happens that wasn't clear, just let us know. So it's not formal testing in the technology world. You don't need to have a technology degree or anything like that or worked in a technology company to do this. This is just about making the NCBI SmartHub as useful as possible. So it's more feedback.
Yeah.
So I would welcome any of the listeners today to join and send us an email, and we'd happily include you in the testing. And all you got to do is send an email to SmartHub, SMARTHUB @ncbi.ie, and then we'll give you all the details of what you need to take part.
Great, very good. And it is kind of important to emphasize that it's real world testing. So there's no point in kind of thinking of it as being some, having to have that big level of technical knowledge. We want to know how it responds in real life situations, doing what you want it to do every day.
Yeah, and I mean, people can also it's testing. Sometimes is to tell us how bad it is as well as how good it is. You don't have to you don't have to mince your words in the testing. Like if it's not something that you think is useful, just let us know. Now, what I would say is, if you don't have an Amazon Alexa or a Google Home, we have a limited amount that we can send out to our service users. Part of the funding for this project meant that we were allowed to buy in a number of devices. So we do have now I would say it is a limited
yeah
it's a limited amount of devices. So really, if you'd like to be involved and you don't have one, still reach out to us, because we may have some devices left. There is still some left at the moment, and we'd happily send you down one, and those devices then would be yours to keep. So and you don't have to just use that device for SmartHub. You can use it for listening to the news or listening to radio as well. So that's maybe an incentive for people to join up.
Yeah,
also,
it sweetens the deal a bit.
Yeah, it is indeed. Also, and I know in a few weeks we have some of the team from Amazon joining the live event. But just to say a huge thank you to the Amazon team. They've sent us over 30 devices as well. They're very excited about this project. So Amazon directly donated 30 devices to NCBI, which means that in every NCBI location, there is an Amazon Echo available for demonstration. So if you don't have a voice assistant or a voice speaker at home and you're interested in getting one, but maybe you don't want to spend the money, do drop into an NCBI location. We've sent them around the country now, and all of the technology trainers that work on our team have one for demonstration. So if it's something that you're curious about, maybe you'd like to even see a demo of the SmartHub before you get involved, do reach out to one of the NCBI offices, and bearing in mind all the usual kind of COVID best practices, but all of our offices are open as well at the moment if you want to make an appointment to come in.
Brilliant, yeah, and great to see Amazon's involvement there as well, and their kind of support for that. That's great. So just, you mentioned about testing and what's going on at the moment. What are realistically the next steps? How does the project go from here?
Well, the next steps really for us from a development point of view are we will continue. We have a list of features that we need to build. So what we're building at the moment is we've done all the informational pieces, and we're going through our bug testing, which I'd love people to be involved in. What we're building at the moment is two things. One is the ability to log in. So if you have a My NCBI account on our website, you'll be able to use that to log into the smart speaker, similarly to how you would log into Spotify on the smart speaker. That's being built at the moment. Also, what we're working on is how you can make an appointment with NCBI, or you could do a referral through to NCBI, or if you'd like to volunteer with NCBI. All of those features are in the current development cycle or sprint, and all you need to do is when they're built, you'll say, Alexa, make an appointment with NCBI, and then a member of our team will contact you to confirm it. So
brilliant, yeah, brilliant. And you were mentioning just about the kind of timeline of this. I think you said around November for the kind of the end of the project, but there'll be something out in a couple of weeks. Is that going to be something that's then kind of updated between then and November on an incremental basis?
Yeah, so what we'll do between so when the first release goes out to the public, once that's out, then every 3 weeks we would expect to release an update. So and that's why if you are testing, it'll be good, because every 3 weeks you'll get to experiment with some of the new features. Once the first release is out, it'll be every 3 weeks. And then a new feature will be released, or some of the bugs will be fixed, and we'll continue to go through that process until we get to the end of November.
Brilliant. Well, it's great to catch up with you and see what's happening with the NCBI SmartHub project at the moment. Certainly a really exciting one. We'll have to have you back in, Kyran, to update us again when there's more developments to talk about as well. But for now, thanks very much for joining us on today's live event.
Thanks, Jude. Great to be here.
So that was Kyran O'Mahony giving us that update on the NCBI SmartHub, and it really is something that we were kind of very excited about in the NCBI Labs team, but also because of the potential there is for this to be something that's really built for those who will get the most benefit from it. So it's We really want that involvement as well. If you want to be involved and give us the feedback, let us know what you think about the NCBI SmartHub as well. We really want to hear from you. So we'll give you those details again shortly. We had it through the video there, but we'll give them to you again shortly if you want to be involved with that. But now we're going to just move on to our tech help section just before we finish up for today. And Daniel, I believe you've been helping someone with navigating around Microsoft PowerPoint. Can you maybe share a few tips with us as well for that?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of our service users there was putting together their PowerPoint slideshow, and it came a little bit of cropper, I suppose, trying to select slides and delete them. So there's a hotkey for navigating around through the different panes or portions, I suppose. If you can consider PowerPoint as being made up of maybe 4 different sandboxes, and the F6 key will navigate you, or Shift F6 in reverse order, obviously, will navigate you to these different panes, I suppose. And so when you press F6, you'll jump from the current slide you're working on, and it'll bring you down onto the status bar. If you press F6 again, it'll cycle you back up to the main menu, which is also accessed by using your Alt hotkey. And then if you go F6 one more time, it's going to bring you into what we call a slide overview pane, which is for visual users. It's down the left-hand side of your PowerPoint program. And from there, you can navigate up and down through the slides rather quickly, and then using obviously your Shift F10 for your options. It'll give you the option then to move a slide or delete a slide or do different overview works, I suppose, with a slide. And I suppose taking that a little bit further than outside of Microsoft PowerPoint, it's actually a useful keystroke to know for the Microsoft Outlook program, because again it'll bring you around on to the different portions of Outlook. You might want to access your calendar, you might want to jump from the reading pane up to the menu and back around to the folders overview pane as well. So plenty of uses there for the F6 key, and also in Google Chrome as well. You can use the F6 key there to navigate across the bookmarks bar and across onto the main address bar and options that are associated at the top of the screen in Google Chrome. So it's a handy little one to know, the F6 key. He can be your friend.
Yeah, brilliant. I thought for a minute I was hearing somebody frantically pressing the F6 key, but then I realized it must be a bit of construction work going on behind you there.
There's a little bit of construction work going on here today.
Yeah.
So sorry about anyone who's listening in. Those, I think we had a wasp earlier on. So sorry about that to everyone.
That's great. Today. And really useful tech help again this week, and nice that it's something that goes across different applications as well. So appreciate that, Daniel, and that's good to have this week's tech help again. And we'll be back, of course, on our next show with some more tech help. So hopefully you've enjoyed our show today. Just a reminder again, of course, that if you need any technology assistance, you can get support from the labs team from 9 to 5, Monday to Friday on 1800 911 110 or 01 531 2975. And you can email labs@ncbi.ie, or to avail of the wider NCBI services, you can call 1850 33 43 53 or email info@ncbi.ie. Of course, we always appreciate your support of NCBI as well. And if you'd like to make a donation to help support our services, you can do that through donate.ncbi.ie. And as we mentioned earlier in our SmartHub update, if you want to be involved with the testing, as we mentioned there, that's really just seeing what works at the moment, giving us feedback, letting us know what you like, what you don't like about the SmartHub. If you'd like to be involved so that your voice is heard in the development of that as well, email smarthub@ncbi.ie. That's smarthub@ncbi.ie. And that would be great to involve you in that as well. Now, just before we go, just a reminder of what we're going to be talking about in future live events. We're going to be talking to our colleagues in RNIB about technology in one of our future live events. We're also going to be talking about the Site Tech Global event. It was an event that started last year with quite a number of different technologies being referred to there. We're going to be talking to the organizer of the Site Tech Global event on our next live event, hopefully. And also there's quite a big progress report on another piece of tech that we've talked about on our live events before, but you're just going to have to tune in to find out what that is. So tune in to our next live event and we'll have some more information on that for you. Just a reminder that our next show is in 2 weeks' time. So that's Tuesday, July 27th at the usual time of 2:30. And if you want to stay up to date with what's happening on our live events, as well as plenty more, you can subscribe to our newsletter on our website, or you can email us at labs@ncbi.ie if you'd like to subscribe to the newsletter. So all that's left for me to do is to thank our guests today, David Nason, Aoife Watson and Kyran O'Mahony. And of course, thanks to everyone listening in as well. And from Sean, Daniel and myself, goodbye for now. And we look forward to having you all back with us soon for another NCBI Labs live event.